Hey y'all, first off, I apologize for my voice. It just ain't healed up yet. The coughing is getting better. Now, I'll start as soon as I start talking because it riles it up back in here. So I apologize for that too. If you've stuck around and listened to these past couple weeks through this horrible sound, I appreciate it. Listen, I'm surprised you ain't want to dig your ears out with your car keys because I'm about ready to myself. It's driving me insane. Hopefully it is going to pass. But I've not wanted to go on a 2-week hiatus of just not posting because I've had things, I've wanted to share. So if you're here, I appreciate it. If you need to mute it and just kind of figure out what I'm doing, mute away. I don't know if it's got the closed caption or not, but I will guarantee you this. If it does have closed caption on these videos, it will not read it properly. Alexa does not read it properly. I ordered something the other day. Last week, I pulled up my shopping list because if you have the Echo or the Echo Dot, I have one in my kitchen. So if I'm out of something, I don't have to run to the notepad. I just holler, Alexa, add flyer, whatever. So I added something last week, and when I went to check my list, it was I done forgot now. 2630 cup, something along that lines. And I sat over there, and I tried to say it fast. I tried to say it slow. Never could figure out what in the world I said. But I'm gonna tell you right now, she does not speak Southern. She don't speak my Southern. They even had a come across there and says, okay, we're gonna say some sentences so we can pick up how you talk. Didn't work. Did not work. So anyway, if you need to mute it, just mute it. I'll be back shortly. Sometime. I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna start something new. This idea came to me from one of my subscribers who has become a friend before YouTube even started. We connected over the fact we're from the same state and we both are doing the Weight Watchers freestyle. Now, I'm not going to mention her. She says she don't want credit. So I'm not bringing up her name, but I do want you to know this was not my idea. I ain't taking somebody else's idea. It was her. She come to me, asked me, is it something I think I could do? And I think I can. So, you know who you are, and I appreciate you giving me this idea and letting me run with it. So, what it is called is, and it's her name too, I didn't come up with this, Thrifty Thursday. We are going to do Thrifty Thursday. On our Thrifty Thursday, the main focus will be food, because that is our Weight Watchers journey, is food, right? She's collecting recipes that she can use for the rest of her life. She told me, she said, I'm in this for the long haul. I don't buy specialty, expensive items, food items. Everybody does not have access to the same grocery stores like, Whole Foods or Trader Joe's or even can afford it. It's hard for me to afford it, and it's just me and David, So those are special treats. Like if I get to go to Trader Joe's, that's a special treat. It's not a every week thing that I can do. So she's getting together recipes with common food items. I'm so sorry. That you can find at pretty much any store. Now there's always going to be an exception, to that rule, because different areas have different stores. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to mainly stick to Walmart, unless it's a name brand. Because like Walmart, I like to use Walmart brands when I can, because I do try to save the money. Even though that I take some bunch of shortcuts that I used to didn't take back in my scratch days, I just can't help that right now until I get in better health and have a better mobility about myself. I just have to do what I can do. But I can tell you, I'm doing this shortcut, but if you want to save money, do it this way. I can definitely add that in there. So we'll be doing recipes, and I was going to say, I'll probably get most everything from Walmart, which I do anyway, unless they're out of something. So like, for one example, I'll give you is the cheese. Since I discovered that Cabot 75% less fat cheese, and they have it at 2 stores in town, Publix, and then Harris Teeter, which is a local store. It's kind of a higher end store. I don't go there very often either. If they have a good sale, I go. But it's expensive. It's like $4 for an 8-ounce block of cheese. It's good cheese. It tastes good. It cooks good, and it's 1 point per ounce. Super Weight Watcher bargain points wise. But everybody cannot get that cheese. I see it on my Facebook group all the time. Where do you get it? I can't find it. So I'm not going to use that in a Thrifty Thursday recipe when maybe half of y'all out there can't get it, and the other half don't want to spend that money on it. So I did find a cheese at Walmart. Now they make a fat-free cheese. I'm not going to use that, only on occasion. It doesn't melt good. If I mix it in with something, maybe. Otherwise, I found a reduced fat Fiesta blend. To me, that's a good enough cheddar substitute. I don't mind whatever the other cheese is, probably Monterey and Colby. That's usually what it is. I didn't really read it. I just looked at it, the points. It's like maybe 2 points for a fourth a cup. To me, that's doable. So that'll be like a mainstream ingredient that I will use so that everybody has the option to use the same thing. I may do a meal. I may put a main dish and some sides together. It may just be some sides. It may just be the main dish. Could be a dessert. I don't know. Just whatever comes up. I may also add thrift store finds. That's got thrift in the name, right? I may add tips and tricks of things that I do around my house to save money. Saving money happens everywhere. Now, our food budget is the biggest place. But if we're going to do thrifty, then we might want to add some other thrifty things in it. Now, I'm going to warn you up front. Because I have a project sitting on my counter right now that I need to get onto. I may pop that here at the end of the video. You will see what I'm talking about. You will see that the things I do are more for utilitarian purposes and not aesthetic purposes. The things that I have done over my life, I get it from my mama. If there's something we can do with something we've got, that's what we're going to do. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be something you're going to see in a magazine. It's not going to be a how-to in Woman's Day on page 130. It's just not going to be. It's going to look like what it was in its previous life, even when I reused it to help me out somewhere else. Because that's just how I do it. I don't really mind. Now, would I like a nice, pretty, fancy decorated house? Oh, yes, I would. I would like a house that's finished, number one, and number two, decorated. So I could just walk in and look at it and relax. That I would love. Behind the scenes, though, I'm not going to change. I'm just not going to change because it's so ingrained in me to just do what you have to do to get by that I don't foresee myself ever learning how to be anything else. So I know the things that I do are not going to appeal to everybody. You're going to be like, I wouldn't put that in my house. And, that's okay. But I grew up where we had to. One of my favorite things as a little girl was this let me call it a dollhouse. I kept it under my bed. Mama couldn't afford no dollhouse for me, but I made one, okay? I had shoe boxes that I glued together, taped together, however they were side and, crisscross, and I cut holes in them for the windows. I used scraps of fabric I glued for the curtains. I had just blocks of wood because, Papa was always building something. I could get all kind of blocks of wood down there at his house. I used food, like containers, empty food boxes, cover them in fabric, toilet paper, whatever I could find, I put in that house. I would come in from school and I would just go in my room. I would slide out my shoebox dollhouse and I would just start creating. Do you think I cared that it didn't look like, y'all know I tear up all the time. If you're new, just settle in and get used to it. It happens. I just get emotional. And I think the older I get, the more emotional I do get. But talking about that dollhouse, it don't bother me. I'm not crying because I had to have it, that I couldn't have a real dollhouse, because I adored that dollhouse. I had the best time. I mean, I got all my creative energy out and colored whatever I did. I guess it just, because I know Mama wished she could have done better, but she couldn't do no better. But what she did do was she raised somebody who appreciates what they have. So, for what she couldn't give me money-wise, she gave me in other ways. And I guess that's why I get, kind of emotional about that. So, let me... y'all, I'm sorry. Things just hit me and just kind of come over me like that. So, I don't even know where I was going with the dollhouse was. Reusing things. So I learned at a young age, you use what you got. Y'all seen my Splenda spice jars, plastic spice jars in my cabinet. If you've seen, before, I have some that I keep all my nuts in. They don't bother me. They don't sit out on the counter so you don't see them. They're in a cabinet and in a drawer. But opening up and seeing them, I don't cringe, because I'm just like, to me, I'm like, that was clever. You saved that and you used it and you didn't have to buy something new. Don't get me wrong, I like to buy new. Y'all see down that stuff I put in Amazon? I've done way too much Amazon shopping. Everything you can't buy used. You do have to buy new stuff sometimes. And so there's a good mix. But the roots are there to use what you have and make use of it. So I might do some of those videos. And then I might do some thrift store finds. Maybe I find a little something at a thrift store. I'll pop that in there. Yeah, I think it all ties together on Thrifty. I'll do the food first. I'll tell you what. I'll do my food first, since that's what Weight Watchers is about. Now, I do that stuff on my channel because I like to. But I'll do the food first, and if I do anything thrifty-wise, thrift store-wise, tip-wise, I'll put it at the end. So when you get through to the food, if that's all you want to see is a recipe, then you know that you're at the end. You don't have to, fast forward and try to get to that spot. So I'm cool with that. I'm perfectly cool with that. And then if you want to go further, you can go further. If nothing else, maybe I can make you think outside the box. You don't have to do things like I do. You don't have to be as rudimentary as I am. I guess that's a good word for it. Rudimentary. You don't have to be as I don't want to say, I don't even know the word I'm trying to look for. You don't have to do what I do, but maybe it'll get you to thinking. Maybe you can see things in a different light, of maybe a way you can fix something, with some stuff you have at home without having to go to the store and buy something special. Or maybe you can find a solution to some little something that's just been irritating you, and you're like, that's a something I can think of. So if I can, you see the sun coming in on me. Oh, okay, y'all see this? I'm gonna jump that subject just one more minute. Now I'm gonna shut up. Oh Lord, it's been 15 minutes. Went to the chiropractor this morning. I put on this shirt. This is the old size. I have done nothing but tug and pull the whole time. I did stop at the store. So I don't put my shirts in the dryer, but I'm gonna have to run this through the dryer because I can't keep doing this the whole time. So there's a nice little NSV getting to throw a shirt in the dryer. If it don't shrink up this way, since my body's kind of long, we'll be okay. Anyway, that's enough of that. We're just going to get into Thrifty Thursday. We're going to start right now. I'm making Impossible Cheeseburger Pie, which I already had on my menu, and Okra Patties, which I already had on my menu. The Okra Patties are for Denise over at Dish with D. Her new vegetable she wants to try, she said, was okra. We were in her little, her Sunday chat. I'm like, okra is on my menu this week. I'm going to cook with me, special for you. So Denise, these Okra Patties are for you. These are Mamaw's recipes. Only way to make them. So I hope you like them. Now, let's get started. Let's get started on our supper. We're going to do the Okra Patties first, because even though the Impossible Cheeseburger Pie has to bake in the oven, there's a lot of the patties, and it will take a good while for them to cook in batches. I have my griddle over there preheating because it takes a little bit to do that. So maybe by the time we get everything mixed up over here, it'll be ready. Now, the cheeseburger pie and the okra both take onions. Not as much in the okra. So I went ahead and I just put, excuse me. We could probably do with a little more onion, but that's what I got. So I'm just going to leave this out. I don't need it to be any smaller. This I'll put right back in with my okra. I already washed my okra and set it out to dry. The recipe calls for 2 cups. I don't even measure because it's not really, you don't really have to measure. It's kind of not a measuring type of recipe, but if you have to write a recipe out, there are amounts to use. So you don't even have to dice the okra, and it doesn't matter about those little things. I normally don't, when I'm frying them or so, I cut them off for some reason. They're not bad to eat. So I don't know why I do it. I guess just habit. So we're just going to throw them in there in big chunks because the food processor will take care of the rest. They have to be minced. So let me finish this up. All right, now I got the okra finished. I didn't use it all. That was 2 of the, I think they're 12-ounce tray packs. That was 2 of them. So I didn't use, what is that, maybe a pound? It's hard to estimate. There's not much I can do with this little bit of okra. So I'm just going to dice it up. Chop it up, I should say. Slice it up. Goodness. Stick it in my leftover soup bowl because it won't matter if this stuff freezes raw because it's going to be cooked in soup anyway. So that will be how I keep from wasting this. Now hang on and let me process this because okay, we got it minced. And this is exactly how you want it to look. Ooh, those onions smell. Now, you know everybody talks about the slime. See how it's sticking? You see that? Don't let that dissuade you from eating it because these are really good. So we're just going to scrape this in a bowl. Open them up. I don't mean to be in front of y'all. And definitely run your onions through with it so they will be just as finely diced because it's just best for the texture of the actual patty. Now, 1 egg, you see that? 1 egg. Oh, I should have had this down here. Some salt and pepper. 1 tablespoon of cornmeal. These are like this because since doing Weight Watchers, I don't use 3 tablespoons of cornmeal. I'm getting confused. I don't use as much of these products as my pre-Weight Watchers days. So to keep them from going bad, I just keep them in the freezer. And you know what? I sure enough did forget to shout out my girl, Denise. I told her I was doing this because she was wanting to try that okra. Here it is, girl. Here it is. If you like it, you better let me know. And if you don't like it, you better tell me you did. I hope, for real though, I hope you can find some okra up there in your neck of the woods. Now, Denise was asking me earlier today, could you make this with frozen okra? And I told her I believe it would be too wet. If you can, this is fresh, and see how it's a moist mixture. So I do think the frozen would just be just a little bit too wet. Now we're going to head over. Let me get my cookie scoop. And we're going to head over and make us some okra patties. Okay, now I've got my griddle, if you can see. I think you can see. I'm just going to hit it with a little bit of this olive oil spray. Now, the old days, well, that squirting too good, did it? The old days, these would have been fried in fat, not this spray stuff. So just kind of get your cookie scoop about yay big. They don't have to be perfect. I don't live in a perfect world, and I don't expect y'all to either. I might, since I didn't make that whole batch of okra, I think I'll get all these in one cooking, one time. Now, I was thinking, for y'all that don't eat okra, you might could do this very same thing with zucchini. It's just a fritter. We call them patties. It's the same thing as what you would call a fritter. So I don't see why you couldn't do it with yellow squash, zucchini, any kind of vegetable like that you might want to make a little fritter out of. So we're going to let these go. Let's see. I'm going to crank it down just a hair, not much, because it takes them a good while to cook. Don't think you're going to have these on the table in a half hour, because you're not going to do it. It'll take you long enough to, to get them made, and then a good little bit to let them cook. I'll try to remember to look at the clock. Let's see. 6:20. So we're going to let that side get good and brown and golden. Flip it over, smush them down, cook another side. So when we get to that point, I'll come back. Okay, before I go over there, work on that cheeseburger pie, it is time to flip these. This is nothing earth-shattering, but I wanted you to see. They get, I'm in my own shadow, there we go. They do start getting brown, and a lot of times you're not supposed to mash things. You mash these. This is something you cook that it is okay to smush. I got my hamburger started in here. And we're going to hit it with our house seasoning. If you don't use this, you can use any seasoning you like. Salt, pepper, garlic powder, garlic salt, anything you think might taste good. Just as long as you're putting something on your hamburger here. Because there is no flavor in the Bisquick or the milk. So the bulk of your flavor is going to come from this meat. So let's just let this cook up. Okay, so our hamburger's ready. And this is 96% lean. First thing I'm going to do, any kind of pie plate that you have. This is a Pampered Chef that I got from my best friend. You know, I can't look at my Pampered Chef without thinking of him. I miss him so much. Okay. Just spread that around. That's all you gotta do. Now, this takes 1 cup of cheese. I already had this shredded and backed out. It's 4 ounces and 1 cup. I told you on the intro that I was going to use Walmart cheese, and I am. Friday is grocery day, and so I don't have that yet. I have this on hand, and I need to use it. So this is going to be like 1 point less per serving than using the other cheese because I put it through the recipe builder. This makes it 4 pieces because I want a nice big piece. 4 pieces, 6 points. And the other cheese, the reduced fat Fiesta blend I was talking about, is 7 points. But for the main dish, to me that's not bad because there's plenty of other options to fill in. Now the only other thing that goes on the top, 2 eggs, I got my quiet whisk. I got it originally to cook in my no-stick pots and pans. And then when I started doing these videos, it worked perfect for not making such a racket. Okay, then 1 cup of, this is skim milk. So see what I mean about no flavor? Your flavor needs to come from there. Now, I always eat mine with ketchup. Listen, growing up, I ate everything with ketchup. I called everything meat, and all the meat had ketchup. I still like ketchup. Listen, when my brother was at home, and I'm not talking about when he was a child, I'm talking about when he was grown, and he had to move back home with Mama. She had him spoiled so bad. Now, they played video games. She played with him. They do those role-playing games. That's where my son, true story, learned to read. Mama told him, well, if you want to play, I don't have time to sit there and read it for you. You learn to read it yourself. He did. And I ain't trying to lie about it. He's a very smart man. He's not a little boy. He's a very smart young man. So this takes a half a cup. I thought I had a knife in there, but it takes a half a cup. But anyway, they would be sitting there playing their video games. It'd be time for supper. You know, Mama fixes supper and everything. Well, he's always been there, even when he's home. He likes to sit in front of the TV and eat, and he puts a pillow on his lap. He's always been that way. He puts a pillow on his lap, and that's what he puts his food on. So, he's a ketchup fiend too. He'll only use Hunt's. He won't touch another ketchup. I think he'll do without. So, Mama would fix the supper. He'd be sitting there. She'd bring him his pillow. He'd be sitting in his chair, have his pillow in his lap. I promise you, as good as I am, standing right here, he would need more ketchup. He would do that. Y'all see my arm? He would go like this. He would stick his arm out, and my Mama would take him the blame ketchup. Of course, I can't say nothing about it. She fed me breakfast in bed the whole time I lived at home. My Mama worked for a living. She did not have the luxury of not working, being a single mama. And she made sure we, all the way through high school, that we did not leave that house unless we had breakfast. We did not have to get up and make our own breakfast. Now, one of my favorite things was oatmeal and cream of wheat. And she made it perfect. Butter, sugar, milk. Oh, if I can have it like that today, I'm going to have it one day and I'm just going to count the points and just be done with it. So she would put it in. This might be my aversion. Also, I have an aversion to metal on metal. If you go to restaurants where they serve you food on a metal plate and give you a metal fork, I have to ask for something else. I can't have metal touching metal. It gives me the EBGBs. Okay. She would come in there. She would lay that. Y'all think I'm telling these stories, but I ain't. She would lay that pan, pie pans, because you know, she would save the pie pans. She would save the pie pans. And she would put it in the pie pan, because it would cool off quicker because there was more of a surface when she put the hot oatmeal, the hot cream of wheat. She would come in my room, Scott too. Here's you laying on the pillow. Here's the side of the bed. She put it right there. This is what she'd say. She'd say, eat it or wear it. And honey, can I tell y'all, I wore it plenty. I slept like a darn bear in hibernation. And so I would not even hear her. And I would just roll over and I swanny. Y'all, I would have just a face full of hot cereal. Not fun. So you're not really going to get it any better than that. It's kind of lumpy. You might could if you wanted to mix it in with your eggs first. But I think sometimes mine is like that because I keep it in the freezer and it does have a tendency to be clumpier instead of as powdery. So all we got to do is just pour this over the top evenly. This goes in a 400-degree oven for about 25 minutes. It'll puff up, it'll get golden brown, and it'll make a bread on top. And when it comes out, then we'll look and see what we got. I'm gonna go over here and check on these okra patties. Okay, so let's check these. I switched these back here and vice versa because, like I told you, this one doesn't get as hot. So you can tell these were getting brown, these were not. So let's flip them and see. Okay, that's what you're looking for right there. Okay, so you do want to, let me get out my light. This way you do want to mash them down because you want the insides to get done. The thicker it is, it's not going to get done. I don't care. You can fry them until they get black on the outside and you're still going to have a moist inside. That's just the nature of the vegetable. It just is. So I think these those feel good. Okay, Denise, we're going to take these off of here. And when they cool off enough, I'm going to come back and taste one for you. Okay, you know I shake when I hold this, but I want to show Denise. You see how nice and golden brown they are? That's what you're looking for. Like I told you before, the inside is not going to get completely dry. You're still going to have that texture of the okra. So it's not going to leave it in your mouth. That is just part of the experience, I guess you would say. That's why some people, you love it or you hate it. And if people hate okra, I'm going to say 9 times out of 10, it's not the flavor of it, it's the texture of it. Let's see. Can you tell? It's just a little bit, like a little bit bread. See how the flour and the cornmeal sit up in there, but it still has that that slimy type texture. You already ate one, but I'm eating another one. Let's see. I think you'll like it because I consider you an adventurous eater. You eat all kind of things because I've watched you, you know, and you just eat a lot of different things. You don't just settle into one food. You're not boring like we're boring. So I think you'll like these. Maybe hit it with a little bit more salt. Never hurt. So you let me know if you try them. I hope you can find some okra. And I'm going to finish up on these as an appetizer while I wait on that cheeseburger pie. See how nice and golden brown? See the top? Like I said before, I'm going to cut this into 4 servings. Because for the main dish, with this and just the okra patties, I think you need just a little bit more. Now you can see that cheese gets a little. Sometimes that cheese does that. Gets a little, I don't know what you call it. But I think this, a 1/4 is a good serving size. And I'm using my plate because y'all saw a while ago I already had my okra as my little appetizer. Now this might come out a little bit better if I wasn't in such a hurry. But I'm one of the most impatient people. And when it comes to cooking, I know a lot of my stuff would turn out a lot better if I would just chill out. Just take it down a notch. Don't see that ever happening. I'll just be honest. So here's your cheeseburger pie. I'm going to get the ketchup. Going to have some supper. I hope you enjoyed our very first inaugural Thrifty Thursday. Okay, now here is the mess I told you that's on my counter. Do y'all remember? This is where they've been sitting ever since laundry day. Just waiting for me to get around to doing what I'm going to do. Y'all remember my big old haul from Wanda's? I was excited to get them because I like that color. They're placemats. This is the second time I've washed them. And they've done it both times. I ironed them the first time, but I'm not ironing them every week. I can tell you that right now. That is not going to happen. So I'm fixing to give them a second life.